Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those of you who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law through this channel. I'll be providing some stock analysis and a quick update on the $1 Million Challenge. So if anybody's not aware of this is a genuine investment of $1,000 to a return of $1 million over a period of 3 years using a strategy called compound return investing. So the objective is try to get 201 trades, each with an average return of 3.5%. It's not 201 consecutive trades. We do take into account losses. So for further details about how to join us for less than $9 a month, information is available in the description below. In today's video, we're going to be looking at MMTLP and a calculation for a resolution at $1,220 per share. We're also going to be looking at a smoking gun for TradeStation, who are now going to be in significant trouble. And then finally, I'm going to be sharing with you a stock that I invested in today. So stay tuned for that. Before we get started, let's have a look at what's happening in the market. So the first headline here from CNBC, the Dow Jones rises more than 100 points as Wall Street tries to shake off the early 2024 malaise. So we have seen two significant red days, but today seems to be a little bit better. And in other news here from the Korean Times, we can see that Yoon has stated that the short selling ban will remain in place until retail investor issues are resolved. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in South Korea. So we do expect some developments there that possibly may have an impact on the US market. So we will be watching this very, very carefully. And in other news, I'd like to share with you from Quiver Quantitative what they've stated with regard to Senator Thomas Carper is that he's just disclosed a handful of stock trades yesterday. He's the chairman of the Senate Committee on Environmental and Public Works, and he oversees many of the companies that he traded. So there were a number of suspicious trades, and the first trade was a company called Valero Energy, and that has been up approximately 9% since he invested in Valero Energy. Let's now have a look at the breaking news and potential smoking gun against TradeStation. So shout out here to Junk Savvy, who posted, it has now been confirmed that MMTLP shareholders have validated 194% of TradeStation's allocated registered stock certificates. So this is quite staggering. So their official allocation was approximately 122,622 shares, but the validation has suggested that shareholders have approximately 237,927 shares and counting. So this figure is going up. So on the table there, we can see here the total at the bottom left hand side, 237,927 shares, and they were only allocated 122.6 thousand shares. So certainly a strong discrepancy there. And let's now have a look at some reactions. So what Anna has stated here is, this is very exciting. TradeStation is the first to admit that they sold us counterfeit shares. So that's something that I covered in the previous video as well. And now we have the physical proof, because as far as I know, each person from the MMTLP community who has shared their information has shared it with a screenshot. Obviously, any confidential details have been removed, so you can go ahead and do that as well. What Rob has stated is, rest in peace TradeStation, you could be bankrupt very soon. They are survived now by their parents, who are FINRA and the SEC, the brothers and sisters and cousins, including GTS Securities, ARI, etc. And they wish they hadn't, but they did, and now they're gone. So not looking good for those nefarious actors there. What Pops has stated is, sitting here in a ringside seat watching the 105 brokerages versus the 4 market makers, and he's saying approximately 25-1 odds say that the brokerages will turn on the market makers. I think that is a strong possibility, and it's going to be a case of who's going to lose their business, who will survive. There could be massive transfers of wealth and we will have economic consequences for the brokers and the market makers. So it's tagging in organizations such as Morgan Stanley, Fidelity, TD, Charles Schwab. Obviously, we've got GTS Securities and many more. So it's going to be interesting how this plays out, especially with Congress as well. And the final reaction I'm going to share with you here is from Short Squeeze DD, who stated, the rumour going around the street is that lawsuits are being prepared against TradeStation. Let's now have a look at one of the calculations for MMTLP. So shout out here to Johnny Tobacco with the Twitter handle Wise Guys, or should we say the X handle. And what he stated here is, I did some maths off some of the actual verified prints on MMTLP shares sold on the 9th of December and subsequently cancelled. So he states here there were 21,000 shares sold for approximately $26 million, so which is an average of $1,220 per share that happened at E-Trade. And he believes 130 is 165 million shares at $1,220. Could be just in excess of $201 billion, and that could be the start. So obviously that's a calculation from Wise Guys, but what Marcus stated here is that FINRA could have simply put this to rest months ago, and obviously they could have released the trading data, provided the broker audit for all brokers engaged in trading, and obviously this fiasco that we are currently having would not have happened. But obviously it looks like we have a new last trade value, so that's interesting, and certainly something we're going to come back to. But what John Berda stated is his opinion is that they shorted it all the way down to $2.90 in order to lower the valuation on the books. And what JR stated, it looks like somebody knew the halt was coming and went all in on MMTLP. Again, so lots of conspiracies there, but let's have a look at an update from Trading 212. It's not a significant update, but it is still an update nevertheless. So shout out here to Hakawaka, who's stated here he's been waiting since August, so he's finally been given a response. So let's now have a look at the response. So what I've highlighted, the one thing that I think is interesting from my point of view is obviously there is no significant update, but what they have stated here is that needless to say, once there is any key information regarding this topic, it will be immediately disclosed to the shareholders via the appropriate channels, i.e. in-app notification, help center and community forum. So my interpretation of this answer from Trading 212 is potentially the S1 becoming effective. We know the S1 is not yet effective. Once that is effective, what that is going to do is going to trigger the 60 days deadline in order to transfer your shares into AST to get the 1-for-1 for Newco. So that could be the time when Trading 212 have no alternative but to take action. Finally, I'd like to share with you one of the stocks that I invested in today, and this was initially shared live in the Discord, and this is ticker symbol SOUN, also known as SoundHound. So I invested in this at $2.06 per share. So we have a look at the chart for 1 year. We can see since around about August 2023, it has been having strong support just above the close to the $2 mark, and has been fairly stable. But prior to that, we did see it go in excess of $4.50, not only in February but also in July. So let me now share with you some of the reasons why I've invested into this. So in response to one of the questions from the Discord members who stated he's looking at the technicals for SoundHound and what am I looking at in terms of a price target. So what I've stated here is, in terms of the company, this is a developer of voice AI technology. It has a good potential for upside with significant risks as it is still a penny stock. So the analyst price targets for this are around about $4.53, and I believe there are 3 analysts that stating similar targets for it, and that represents a good 128% potential return. And the financials show that the revenue is forecast to grow approximately 39.91% annually, so that's quite significant, and it suggests strong business momentum. The voice AI market is going to be something that is growing. It has diverse applications, and I believe it has a good potential for the long term as well. So the company is still unprofitable, so that's a risk factor. It's not expected to be profitable until at least 3 years, so the stock could still be quite volatile. However, in my opinion, I think a price around about $2 or even less than $2 is, for me, a risk worth taking. And if anybody would like to get more notification of due diligence and obviously stock alerts, you can join us. Details are in the description below. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.